We see the persistence of the past and the stark income disparities between black and white, in the segregation, resegregation of public schools, and higher adult mortality rates for African Americans. On the whole, African Americans die in the American South from diabetes at a rate of 2 to 1 compared to white. And finally, we see the persistence of the past in infant mortality rates as well. Mississippi's infant mortality rate, for example, 2005-2006, the most recent year for which we have appropriate data, was the highest in the nation, and here the racial differential was huge. For whites, the rate was 6.6 deaths per 1,000 births. For African Americans, the rate was 17 deaths per 1,000 births, up from just a few years earlier, as high as it was 20 years previously, and almost 3 times the rate for whites. So, the past itself may not be dead, but clearly it kills. None of these racial differentials in life, chances, indeed in life and death itself, can possibly be explained without a deep understanding of Mississippi and the region's Jim Crow past and how that past continues to be transmuted into the present. A decade ago, the civil rights activist and former president of the Southern Regional Council, Leslie Dunbar, a white West Virginian, observed that, quote, "The South owes. No other region has caused the nation so much hell. It ought to compensate," unquote. Compensation comes in many forms, one of which arguably is listening anew to the voices from countless graves and to acknowledge our debt to that past, to, among others, the 74 Forgotten, cataloged by the Southern Poverty Law Center. It is a debt to understand and remember their travails, their hopes, their essential, unalterable humanness. To do less is to disrespect their courage and sacrifices, and to do nothing merely because we are unable fully to repair and restore, unable fully to compensate and commemorate, is effectively to forget the past and its obligations, forget the crimes committed then, and pretend that that dark journey never happened and that all the suffering and loss and pain of so many for so long is of no public or communal import. And that, it seems to me, is unacceptable. Perhaps then it is time to move, emotionally as well as cognitively, from memory as possibility to memory as necessity. We may not be responsible for our region's past, but we, who else possibly could be, are responsible for a present impregnated by the past, a present that maims and destroys and kills precisely because of its past. On that note, I'll conclude with quotations from 2 Southerners, one black and one white. The first is from Elizabeth Eckford, who was one of the Little Rock 9 African-American high school students who desegregated Little Rock, Arkansas Central High School in September of 1957. At the 50th anniversary of that event, she said, quote, "There can never be true reconciliation until we acknowledge our painful and shared past," unquote. The second is from William Winter, the governor of Mississippi from 1980 to 1984, and the person for whom the University of Mississippi's William Winter Institute of Racial Reconciliation is aptly named. Quote, "In light of that haunting question," Winter, in fact, asked, "Why did not white Southerners after 1954 accept desegregation with dignity and goodwill?" In light of that haunting question, Winter asks and urges, "Let us hope that the next generation of Southerners will not have to ask the same thing about us as we confront the new challenge of an increasingly multiracial society. Let us be reminded, therefore, that there is still much for us to do to complete the task of racial reconciliation." Thank you.